Hello. Trying to figure this out. I wanted to have some kind of music playing in the background, but I don't know how to do that without having a third device. So we are going to just sort of wing it. Oh, I forgot to bring up my awesome, my reference material from which to paint. So pardon me while I just film my arm for like a while. Oh, here. Okay, we got that. Oh, that's going to be a challenge because I won't be able to see comments or anything if there should be any. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering where I might see comments show up. If you're watching, I don't know if anyone is, but please comment so I can see if I can see a comment. But then if I can't, please don't be offended if I don't respond. Oh, this is funny. Okay. All right, well, maybe I'll just have to kind of not have reference. We're just going to do some other stuff. But now I can't bring up my... It's like I've never seen a tech device before in my life, guys. All right, let's go big. Be sure to like the stream. And certainly if you're watching later, though I have no idea what you would be, because my goodness, I sincerely hope that your life is far more interesting than wanting to watch my very sad live stream. But you know, we'll figure it out. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Nor was this channel. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I'm so distracted. Let's focus on what we're doing, shall we? All right, so I have been playing with gouache lately, and it's been incredibly fun. Let me show you what I got. And this was probably going on a good number of weeks ago. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on. I got this set of Da Vinci gouache, and it's a mixing set. It's the CMYK with whites, and it has two whites. Now, what is the K? C is cyan, M is magenta, the cyan, magenta, and then yellow. Why is black K? I don't understand. Someone tell me if you know. And then beyond that, so what I did was added them all to this palette. Just kind of an old palette I have. This is palette paper underneath these colors because I wasn't sure if I would want to keep them in this orientation after I started putting some of them down. This and this, okay, these are the CMY colors. These two are colors that came from a gouache set that Susan with Creative, oh my gosh, it's not Creative Solutions Art anymore. It is Creative, oh my brain is gone. Though I think if you look Solutions, Creative Solutions Art, you'll find it. Anyway, she gave me this set a while back, and yeah, it was wonderful. I wanted to see what the difference was between this set that she sent to me that is very budget and the higher end set of Da Vinci Paint Co. paints, I find that they're pretty much the same. I don't notice a drastic difference between them. These dry a little chalkier. They are the, let's see what they're called. They're these Jesus Finest gouache paints. And yeah, she felt like they were wonderful and so inexpensive. And so I had been learning using these, and then I wanted to compare them with the others. And so that's what I did. So this eye here was made with gouache, and then this was made actually with watercolor pencil, and it's not done. And then I started adding some gouache on top of it. And then this little guy here was made with gouache and watercolor, and he's done, but I want to kind of make sort of a spread here. So that's, I think, what I'll work on today. And yeah, whoops. So I will just kind of be working, and you can drop by and we can chat. Are you guys freaking out about the stuff in the news lately? Maybe not freaking out. What do you think about all of it? Doesn't it just feel like everything has gone utterly insane? All of our systems are proven now to be completely untrustworthy. I don't want to talk about all of that, but boy, have I been caught up in it. You know, we see now that the both sides, the left, the right, everything in between, all so corrupt. And thank God we have God and art, right? I mean, am I right? I think that had I not invested so much time over these last years in learning about art and finding this passion for it, for rebuilding relationships that were difficult in the past, that I had done a lot to damage. And if I hadn't just really decided to make it a point to determine what matters in life and what doesn't, and the things that matter being the people that we love and our friends and our even our just our day-to-day kind of mundane routines. These things are important. They're solid, we can cling to them, and they aren't disrupted easily by the things that are happening out in the world that we have no control over. My point being, I'm just very grateful that that I haven't placed my hope in all of these things of the world, because I would be absolutely devastated right now. And not going to lie, oh, these are delicious. Sorry, ADHD much? Okay. It is devastating to see the stuff going on in the world today, but we know the world has always been broken. And once we know this, we can choose to just kind of make sure that it isn't where we hang our hat, where we put out all of our focus. And that includes, trying to keep up with the Joneses and all of that stuff. Like, none of that matters. It's all very external and fake, and just not where I want my energy to go. I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of darkening her hair. There are going to be some light aspects of it, but And I'm using gouache right now. This right here is a shadow that I tried to lay in with darker gouache paint, I think, and then I lifted it, and then I tried again with some watercolor pencils, and I think that it's going to have to be done with transparent watercolor. Otherwise it will look like she has some kind of like just line on her face instead of a shadow. So we'll see about that. We'll see about that. I'm using my good watercolor brushes for gouache, and I guess you're not really supposed to do that, but I'm not sure why. Anyone know? I like using soft brushes, and I don't much like using stiff brushes unless I'm using them for a very specific purpose. So I clean them out well after I use the gouache. So I think that should be okay. We'll find out, I suppose, huh? And I'm just kind of using just a combination of a multitude of various dark colors. You know what I've noticed about gouache in particular, being very new to it, and I intend to make an actual video about this at some point, but excuse me. What I notice is it looks kind of terrible when it's wet. And my initial instinct when I first began painting with it was to lift it. Like, oh no, oh, that looks so bad, I need to lift it. But once it's dry, it looks really beautiful. So if you're new to gouache, not that I am by any means somebody that you should listen to, i.e. I'm not an expert in this, nor am I even anything above a very, very beginner level beginner. But one thing I have noticed, even given that, is that it is very important to let it dry so that you can determine what it's going to look like. This weekend was crazy at work. It was like baby central. All the babies decided to be born this weekend. I think we had like 10 births, which for a small hospital, that's pretty impressive. We were hustling, man. And I was exhausted. Any of you who've watched my videos before, you may know that I worked night shift for years and then recently switched to day shift. And boy, is that a culture shock. Day shift is much, much more intense. Let me tell you, it is like nights on steroids. The only real benefit is we tend to have a little bit more staff on days. And I think given that our circadian rhythms are such that we want to naturally be kind of active and running around during the daytime, it's okay to be busier. I think nights, being quite busy on nights is far more taxing for some reason, and I can only attribute that to the circadian rhythm issue. So that is certainly kind of had me exhausted. And I've noticed ever since I went to working days that that I have far less drive to make YouTube videos. It's like I'm kind of spent during the weekend. And by the time I get to the weekday, I'm just like, oh, I can't do it. Not that I don't really want to interact with you guys, and not that I don't have things to say, because I've got a big mouth and I always have things to say. But putting together a whole video that has a storyline, a beginning, an end, and a middle, and also creating the art to go along with that, I find is it's kind of a mental tax, you know? And I'm hopeful that perhaps through live streaming, which I've been planning to do for a long time and found that I might not be able to because of our Wi-Fi, hence my test today and my attempt to see if I can overcome the Wi-Fi situation, perhaps by streaming when less people are home in my neighborhood. I noticed that the strength of the Wi-Fi varies greatly depending on how many people are using it. Duh. I don't know if that's even a real thing. You guys, I'm not tech savvy at all, but it's just something I've seemed to notice. So I'm going to determine here over some time if that is a fact or just me assuming as much. Anyhow, I think I definitely know I could routinely live stream at least during this time of getting, I don't know, acclimated to working day shifts and being so busy on during the 3 weekend days I work. And I work 12-hour shifts. Usually they turn out to be like 13-hour shifts. And I'm an old lady. I get wiped out, man. So when I come home after all of that, it takes a few days to recalibrate and get up and running, to a place where I can feel creative. I don't know if you guys experience that creative burnout when you're tired. Ooh, this is a really pretty color I just mixed. It's going to be really bright, but I think it is going to be what we need for these eyes. And I don't want it to encompass the entire eye. Just a bit of the eye. I think we need some music, you guys. Otherwise, I'm going to start like humming. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants to hear me humming. We'll see. This eye right here definitely needs some contrast, so I'm going to work on that. This sketchbook right now, I'm trying to create a lot of, what's the word? Like kind of an experience with it. Let me see if I can show you where we are. This was me just playing with the gouache and doing some swatches. But instead of just leaving it completely messy, I tried to be a little bit, I don't know, interesting with the shapes and learning to use my brush with the gouache, that kind of thing. And then these are some pieces that I recently did. This is the art style I am absolutely loving. This one, there was a whole entire mess that led up to this one, but I think it turned out pretty good. I'd like to add a little bit more to the background, I think, but yeah, I'm definitely enjoying. And this was gouache, so I think I'm beginning to figure it out. We're not going to look at this next piece because it's a mess, but I think it's one I could work on in a live stream, perhaps. Oh, yep. And so that's something to get back to at a later time. All right. Anyway, what was my point? Oh, I'm trying to make this sketchbook kind of pretty, kind of aesthetic. I've said all along on this channel, that I am not one capable of making things very aesthetic. And once it's done, it will shine, I think. But the process of getting it to done is usually kind of not beautiful when I'm making paintings. This is also a thing with my sketchbooks. Like, I can put a thing here, a thing there, and it doesn't look great. It doesn't look cohesive. There aren't any factors that link the different images, and I'm trying to work on that. So, like, the pieces, when they're done, look pretty. I mean, to my eye, I'm satisfied with them, but they certainly don't like jive together. So that's something that I really want to improve as we go along. So hopefully, hopefully I can get there in time. All right, let's work on her lips a bit, shall we? We shall. Just here, trying to like add a bit of depth. I've found that good art takes a long time, at least for me. And I really have to kind of sit back and look at it as I go, let things dry, evaluate. I'm not one that can just put it all together so quickly. Trying to even out this area of her brows. Her brows. Her brow line. I have not put in her actual eyebrows really yet. But are you guys watching the Savannah Guthrie stuff at all? Oh, her cheek looks weird. It's just because it's not dry yet. I think it's crazy. I kind of feel like, I mean, I think it's a tragedy. It's a horrible tragedy. And thinking of this poor woman being away from her home and family and away from everything that she needs, all of her medical needs that she has. Apparently, she lives in severe pain and she might be without her meds. Like, all of these things are so scary to me. And then at the same time, I feel like in some ways, could this also be some sort of a, now this is going to sound really conspiratorial. I don't know if this is a thing or not, but could this all be a false flag, like something to take our attention off of the you know what files that have recently come out? Could, I mean, I wouldn't put it past our government to do something like that. I'm going to add some more depth to this eye right now while I wait for this to dry so I can keep working on it. I really am curious what, if any of you are following any of this stuff, or is it just my YouTube feed and my algorithm? I feel like it's swept me up lately, and that's what I was referencing when I was talking about the fact that it's just so important to know what's real and what really matters in our lives. When we can't entirely trust almost anything that's coming out in media now. Probably we couldn't ever, but we didn't know that. At least I didn't know that. I don't know. Thoughts, anyone? No pressure, just say. I'm using this really tiny Kolinsky sable brush. I've used it before in lots of videos. And I'm just kind of blending out this paint, this bleed proof white. Well, now it's gotten way out of hand. Sorry. This is what happens. I have to kind of go back in and lift a bit. I'm trying to get this natural look here with the eye. And I'm gonna have to create some more darks right over there. I can do this in watercolor, but to do it in gouache is like a whole entire different thing. I don't think I'm pulling it off, but I'm gonna keep playing with it. I'm gonna let that dry, go back to this, and then we'll see where we're at. Did I lose the lid? I lost the lid, bruh. Ooh, okay, there we go. Ugh. I have my sketchbook tilted on a tape roll. I just much prefer to paint on a tilt all the time. It's far more user-friendly. All right, what are we gonna do? Let's maybe do a little bit of, let's change this out. Let me show you something else cool. All right, so I'm gonna let this stuff dry. I have another sketchbook here that I've been working in. And I think I'm gonna do an actual video about all this and talk to you more about it, but this is the Talons sketchbook and I've had it for a while, but it's a fun little sketchbook. What are you gonna do? All right, it is, we're not gonna look at all of this. This is just some weird random sketches I've done. But the other night, okay, when I was really getting rudimentary and going back to how to create heads that are proportional and creating a way to paint heads every time according to sort of a formula, I drew a bunch of heads and then I just had all of this stuff in here and I didn't know what to do with it and I didn't like how it looked. So I went through and threw on some watercolor in the bands of the face, like the yellow, the red, and the blue. Yellow for the forehead, red for the center of the face, blue for the lower half of the face, with different tints and textures, and then like threw some water in there. And I was thinking this would be a great way to add in some facial features. Kind of, it takes the white of the page away, though this is not white, it's more of like an off-white yellow sort of color. Two messy sketches, one where I used a stencil and then tried to throw the features on, and one where I was just being kind of wild and it didn't turn out great. But I thought maybe I could salvage it by putting down watercolor and then adding layers, because what I've been seeing is that a lot of people use this Talons sketchbook, which is just, you know, it's got all the many pages. They've used this to add wet media. And I noticed when I tried these acrylic markers on this paper, they did great. I mean, the paper held up perfectly well. So I just, yeah, I'm wanting to see what it can do. If in fact this is true that you can paint in watercolor on this kind of paper, and it seems that you can. I don't know that you can do a ton of layers, but perhaps. So maybe we'll work on this a bit. I don't know if I can even salvage this eye right here. It's looking pretty scary, but I think I can lift the white and add in more dark gouache. I'm trying to learn the parameters through which one is able to rework gouache before it becomes overworked. I don't know if I've hit that threshold yet with this eye, but I'm probably pretty close. Anyway, so I think that's what I'm going to work on now for a bit. And I think I'm also going to cut this stream now and tidy up some of this work, and then I'll come back throughout the day and work on it, because the intent for this stream, as much as I apologize that it's kind of all over the place, is just to see how the tech works and if I can manage doing a couple things at once. So I'm gonna say goodbye now, and then I'll pop on probably in a few hours or this evening and try all this again. We'll see where we're at then. I want to thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next part of this stream. Have a great day. Bye. Now I have to figure out how to end the stream. Ooh, sorry. Let's see how to do that. How do we end the stream? Let's see. Oh, we just